Archaeologists have discovered an unusual burial in Germany, indicating that 4,500 years ago, prehistoric people were afraid of the deceased returning to life. And archaeologists in the future will discover that a TV series called The Walking Dead ran to 11 seasons. Though the dead may not walk among us, it seems their beliefs do. Let's see if we can put some flesh back on the bones. I'm Michael Bott.
And I'm Rupert Soskin.
We're the Prehistory guys, as usual, bringing you news about old stuff. What can you do, Rupert, to start putting flesh back on the bones with this?
Flesh on the bones of zombies. This is a cracker, this one.
Yeah, dig deeper.
This is... they're called zombie graves. There's a number of them been found, but basically... so this more recently found grave, it's near Oppen, I hope that's the right pronunciation, in Germany, southwest of Berlin. And there were excavations were going on for an underground power line, and they came across this grave. And it's a grave of a middle-aged man between 40 and 60 years of age. And there was a very, very large stone placed over his legs in the burial, interpreted as stopping him from getting out of the grave. I think that's the best way of putting it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a covering for the grave. This is overkill. This is total belt and braces effort to keep this person where he was. It's a bit of stone measuring 3.2 feet. It's funny. Why do people put feet in decimals?
It's a bizarre thing, isn't it? Yes. It's a metre by 50 centimetres by 10 centimetres.
Yeah.
Or if you wanted an imperial, then it's about 3'3" by just under 2 feet by about 4 inches thick. It's a heavy piece of stone. They were making sure he wasn't crawling out.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, there are other interpretations available.
I can't think of one. I really can't think of one. It's interesting, though, isn't it? Because it's not the first time that they've found... These are called zombie graves. When I don't know who first coined that term, I have to say. I don't know how long it's been in place. But there have been all sorts of graves found where they really were making sure that this person wasn't getting out. So some, for example, where somebody has been pinned to the ground with a spear... and others where, in fact, one of the thoughts of, do you have her name there? It escapes me for the moment. The chief archaeologist on this.
Suzanne Friedrich.
Well done.
I've got it here in front of me. I cheat.
Oh, okay. Have you got the? Yes, go on. You say what she said about that, because
she said we know that already in the Stone Age people were afraid of revenants. People wanted to prevent this with magic. Suzanne Friedrich, an archaeologist with the State Office for Heritage Management and Archaeology of Saxony-Anhalt and project manager of the excavations, told Newsweek. Back then, people believed that dead people sometimes tried to free themselves from their graves. They probably did if they weren't dead. Sometimes the dead were laid on their stomachs. If the dead lies on his stomach, he burrows deeper and deeper instead of reaching the surface, she said.
That's a corker, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I wish we could expand on the reasoning why we know. It's a big statement. You know, we know that that this kind of burial was... She says, yeah, definitely. She says, back then, people believed that dead people sometimes tried to free themselves from their graves. Yeah. I mean, seeing as we still do,
well, yeah, exactly.
Or we carry it as a fear that they might. That's probably a better way of putting it. It seems to be embedded in our psyches somehow.
It's true, but we do know that ancient Greeks and Rome as well, that they did believe it, and so it's grazing prehistory and history. But we know that the Romans, for example, sometimes they would place a block of stone in the mouth of the deceased, which was meant to stop. It was meant to take away their ability to rise up and eat human flesh. That's a bit wishful thinking, I think. If a zombie's going to get up, I think it might still do that. I'll tell you something that I came across. I was quite surprised as well, actually, that in researching this particular excavation, I found out that Suzanne Friedrich, it's not the first time her team have found zombie graves, and they excavated a different one last year, where they excavated there were two people buried in this grave, a man and a woman. And it's nothing like that old. This is to the 2nd or 3rd century CE. So it's not that old. But in this the two people buried close to each other, a man and a woman, he had 3 stones placed on his body, so he couldn't get up. She didn't have any stones placed on her. So I don't know if he'd done something to upset everybody.
Yeah. While you mentioned the age, I did say at the very top that it was 4,500 years, 4,500 years ago. That's not definitive, to be honest. I mean, the burial, this one we're talking about, has yet to be conclusively dated, but it does appear to be associated with the Beaker phenomenon, which did occur in Europe 4,500 years ago. So we're talking late Neolithic, early Bronze, to put another spin on it. Further, the article says the burial could represent the first revenant grave from the Beaker period to be found in central Germany. If confirmed, the discovery would be unusual, given that there is little evidence of such burial customs for this culture, the Beaker culture, that is. So, well, it just goes to show. I think the main thing to come out of this is not the surprise that there's some people in the past tried to stop somebody getting out of his grave. It's surprise, we're still afraid of such things happening. Terrified, actually.
Yeah, there are still people who
just because I haven't seen it happen doesn't mean
apocalypse. I think.
Zombie apocalypse, it absolutely could happen. It seems to be a fundamental fear, the fear of the dead.
Yes.
I mean,
isn't it funny though how it raises such a series of questions over the amount of people we know. I say people we know. That's not what I mean at all. The amount of instances that we've seen in prehistoric excavations where they bury people in houses. So clearly they're not frightened of those deceased people. It really does seem to be this. Is it a cultural divide, or is it person specific that no, I didn't like him, we're going to make sure he stays there? Because even now you get places in Indonesia, for example, where people still live with their deceased. They don't even bury them. They keep them in the house, whether it's sitting in chairs or lying on their beds, until they physically fall apart.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a fundamental schism between cultures that are frightened of the dead and those that revere the dead or accept death as part of life. Yeah, I wonder what that is.
It's a really interesting contradiction, isn't it?
Yeah. But from our point, from the curse of Tutankhamun onwards, the curse of the mummy, through to the Walking Dead. It's something that won't lie down. Forgive the pun.
It's true, isn't it? Yes.
If that's a pun. Yeah.
Yeah. Marley's ghost. Oh, we don't like the dead.
There, folks, plenty to discuss out there, and the amazing fact that if you haven't watched The Walking Dead, that there are 11 seasons to plough through. Over the next
I can't lie, I've never
weekends.
watched one, but
no, me neither. All right, maybe we were missing something. Hey. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time. Bye from me, and
goodbye from me. Take care, folks. Bye.
Bye.
dear. Right, stop that.